Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of us validating our own car purchases. Today we have Weston's 2013 BMW M6. It's essentially a supercar for nowhere near the cost of a supercar.
Well, it was new, the poor fellow paid supercar prices, but these days you can have these for almost, under 40 definitely. Sometimes maybe under 30 even.
Right, so we got a twin turbo V8 under the hood, 560 horsepower.
Nice 560 going on.
It's not clear whether it's a competition package or not. So
I don't think it is.
For the sake of the video, we're gonna say 560 horsepower as compared to the 576 that you would get with the competition package, but it's plenty of power for the car. And I think with that, let's take a look at the styling.
There are a few extra bits that initially made me think maybe it has the competition package, but I think are actually aftermarket parts that the previous gentleman added before me. There was at one point, I think, a nice little front wing, I think is what you have to call them, added, most likely in the same carbon.
There feels
option,
like there's
definitely screw holes.
There are screw
underneath
holes.
there.
My finger is on one right now.
It came with a nice, very nice scraped front bumper.
Yeah, it has
a few marks and dings when I bought the car.
No fault of your own, I'm sure.
I might have added a few new ones to the equation here and there.
The side skirts.
the side skirts.
Don't look at the side skirts.
The carbon side skirts, there's nothing wrong with the carbon side skirts. They're totally fine.
It's not for sale. So
not for sale.
You don't have to worry about that. I think, in my opinion, this has to be the best looking modern BMW. I think it's extremely well proportioned. Yes. The front end, I think we talked about this a bit. It is very reminiscent of the new BMW M2, I think.
I think the new M2 looks quite a bit M6-ish. It sort of has the nice big open mouth, two reasonably sized little nostrils there, harkening back to the old.
The grille is not oversized.
No.
The headlights are a very distinct feature of this car's look. I think they give it a lot of presence.
They give it presence and stance. It kind of has the same kind of attitude of the M3 models from this year, but it's just a little bit elongated and a little wider stance, which is one of the reasons why I always love the way these cars look.
I think the proportions are, again, just perfect on this car. It's really, I honestly think it's one of BMW's best designs.
I agree, and I think that not a lot of people, I don't know if it was a very popular car in terms of the styling. I've seen a lot of comments online, people saying that they didn't like the way these looked. I think that's why the M5 was a more popular option. I think people like the classic design of the M5 more, and well, the M5 is much more practical, as we might get into a little later.
Practicality on this car we'll get into.
It's practical enough, and
you
that's why I like
sacrifice a little bit of practicality over an M5 to get a better looking car, I think.
My opinion, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I sort of started looking for these before I even thought of M5s, just because I like the coupe design. I like the two-door design. I think that the rear arches in this car are fantastically styled, and I think it gives it a very nice, beefy look, like it's ready to go.
Carbon roof.
The carbon roof as standard is pretty cool.
I like it.
It's a very nice weave.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it almost has a kind of double bubble look to it with this nice little sort of inlet there thing. I like that a lot.
I think it looks great, and it looks great in this black too.
Yeah, I like it in black. I thought about it in white,
clean.
If you can keep it clean.
Yeah, which you don't really.
No.
But it looks good right now. It has been squirted with water, so it looks.
We've sprayed some water and soap on it, so
it looks better than it did a couple hours ago. But yeah, I think it adds to the menacing look of it. As Stan was saying on the way over here, this car following you. I'm not actually going to say that.
It doesn't look like a nice person's car.
It looks. But that's
it's not.
That's illegal to say. That's illegal to say. So it looks mean. Sucker looks mean.
This sucker looks mean. Yeah. Fitted with the non-carbon ceramic brakes, but they do the job.
And you got the carbon spoiler on the back, kind of a ducktail.
A nice ducktail.
A really cool addition.
Yeah.
I
always prefer ducktail spoilers to anything that's actually functional. and will actually provide a real
No,
performance
yeah,
benefit.
it looks really cool. A really, I think, tasteful addition to the car. And it works really nicely with the rear carbon diffuser.
The carbon diffuser that is also, I believe, a non-standard
It looks
addition.
good.
It looks very well fitted, actually.
It's in good shape.
The man who did these, did the work to this was,
Yeah,
he had some good taste and did it pretty well, I think.
yeah.
Twin dual quad exhausts actually there. They're really nice. They're not, I have had comments that it's not as loud as people think it will be, but I quite like it because you can still start it up in a residential area at 2 in the morning.
Well,
and no one will
when
be
you
any the
revved
wiser.
it earlier when we were testing that shot, it was loud enough to scare me.
As long as I don't put it in the Sport Plus mode and rev the exhaust, it'll be nice
it's good.
and quiet.
It's a reasonable car. It doesn't, you don't look like a dork in it,
Well, hopefully not.
to me at least.
Yeah, I think it's very easy to look like a dork in this car, but I would hope that I don't.
All right.
It was bonging.
Moving on to the interior, I think this car has a lot of luxury features that you wouldn't expect for a car of this age, but it really packs a whole lot into it. This car particularly does not have the executive package, which
Unfortunate.
Yeah, that would come with the optional Bang & Olufsen's sound system, which this car lacks. And the standard sound system is not that great, I must say.
I think it's enough. I like
it's
it
enough.
As long as you turn it up to a reasonable volume, it sounds good enough, in my opinion. I don't know. I listen to a lot of music, especially when I'm driving, but I think it gets the job done.
It gets the job done for sure. And of course, this beautiful brown leather, which
a little worn.
Little worn, but that's okay.
I put a lot of wear on it, but
yeah, I mean, it suits the car. It's properly spec'd, I would say, this car. It's much better than just a plain black
prefer
interior.
Any kind of color on a car, interior, just anything that is against the standard.
I think this
black
is
leather.
the best option for the interior choice
Yeah.
on this car, because the red is a little bit too much. It's
Yes.
a little too garish.
Yeah.
But I think this just gives it a good amount of a color.
Class and sophistication.
Yeah, it's sophisticated, but it's not overdone.
Yeah.
The seats are really comfortable, I must say. You got the extra thigh support and these lovely little adjustable headrests.
They're great when you're
You're
traveling
nice. I
long
wish more
distances.
cars had them, I'll say.
It's really nice. So the lumbar support in this car is also very good.
It is.
Heated and cooled seats, very good, very nice to have.
Although the
Especially-
cooled seats didn't really do much for me on the way over here, but
They worked for me.
They have-
The driver's side works very well.
okay, maybe it's just the
It might be.
non-functional on the passenger side.
One of the things that I really like about this car is that with a lot of coupes have this sort of feel, I think. But what attracted me to the M6 in particular was the way that the car almost feels spaceship-like to me in the driver's seat. It has a nice heads-up display that changes quite dramatically when you enter the sport mode. And just the driving position makes you feel like you're really engaged with the car and really on top of things on the road.
Has the nice carbon paddles on there.
They're actually not carbon paddles. These are,
Oh, they're not.
guessing
Yeah.
the man who owned this before me went with these rather strange plasticky blue options.
They might be aluminum.
They're not, they're definitely plastic.
Okay.
I think they're definitely plastic.
I like them
but
though.
I think they look kind of
they're not
nice.
super secure, but
No.
they're cool.
There's quite a lot of carbon fiber in this car as well, which I thought if you kind of get a red interior with these, that matched with the carbon fiber makes it look, I don't know, a little silly to me.
Yeah.
If a red interior is too bright red and there's a lot of carbon fiber,
it can be goofy.
it can be a little goofy.
This is nicely done. The carbon goes all the way down and to like the gear selector and all the
Yeah.
drive modes buttons. I think it's far superior to just a gloss black.
I like that, yeah. I like the carbon weave. I think this car, it knows what it is. It's not a supercar, not quite just a sports car. It's somewhere in between. And
Almost if it were a GT
a Grand
car.
Tourer. I think the Grand Tourer moniker fits it very nicely.
Okay, here we are driving the M6, and I think we should. I would like to start out by asking how your experience with reliability has been with this car.
So far, so good on reliability. Like any good BMW, it burns oil, but it hasn't been too much of a problem. Just keep a nice can of Liqui-Moly in the back seat here, just in case you need to top up anytime. You know, it's not an often occurrence, but it is something that has happened a few times after some high-speed driving or some long-distance driving.
Right.
I don't know.
Other than that,
I had no problems. Knock on whatever proverbial wood.
carbon.
Knock on the carbon fiber here.
Yeah. So that's good. I think people will be potentially surprised to hear that, but I think if you're in the market for or looking at one of these, that's good to hear.
Yeah, obviously each car is going to be different, but I've been pretty lucky so far with this one. I did hear, certain people on the
it's a nice green LR4.
An LR4 is always nice.
It was green
a nice
too.
Sight. Green's a good color on this.
But yeah, so
some people have had problems with reliability. I mean, it's a turbocharged 4.4 liter V8 engine, 560 horsepower. They're gonna take some damage when you drive them as they're intended to. And so far, I actually have driven it as intended. I've done a lot of long distance grand touring around the east coast of the United States.
With this, we want to talk about the practicality of the car and what it's really like living with as your daily driver, because that's what it is.
It's so far so good on the daily driving aspect of it. I've had the car a full year now, a little over a year now actually, and it's gone through spring, summer, and winter, and back into spring again with no major issues. I've been able to use it every single day of the year except for one day when I'm not sure if anybody could really use their cars because there was 6, 7, 8 inches of snow on the ground, and it was terribly icy and just a hideous day. The only car you might be able to use on that day was, in fact, the Range Rover.
Yes.
And I think it did work rather well. But this car ran into some issues, even with, I don't know, like 3 or 4 inches of snow on the ground.
It could be down to the tires that you have running on this. I think that's where we got cut off last time, but we think they're Michelin Pilot Sports again. I probably could have looked.
I should have checked. I do believe they are, but they're also quite old. When I bought the car, it was said that there was going to be new tires on them, and you know what? I don't think there were.
So the wheels that are on this are 19s, right?
Yes, these are 19s.
And they don't make an all-season.
It's very hard to find any kind of all-season tire for the 19-inch rim in this specific size.
So if you did want to get an all-season, you'd have to get a new set of wheels.
And I think that comes down to the fact that every automotive manufacturer these days is putting bigger and bigger wheels onto their vehicles.
Yes.
Which is, in my opinion, not great.
So the tires do let it down a bit in the winter time. But I mean, that's really not what the car is about. So, but you want it to, I mean, this is your daily driver, so you want it to be as usable as possible. But aside from that 1 or 2 days in the winter when it snowed a lot, it's been
every
fun.
day usable. I can take it, to all my activities, work, back, and also it's quite enjoyable to just take out and mess about on a nice evening.
Indeed. And I think going off of speaking on practicality, this car does have back seats, and they're not as bad as like what you would think of most sports cars having. Like a 911's back seats aren't really back seats; they're just kind of things that are shaped like seats that you can put a bag on or something. But these back seats are usable, but everybody that we know and that we associate with are kind of on the taller end.
Doesn't
so
make it a little
for
interesting.
you know, like if you're above 5'10", I would say you might not want to spend more than like 5 to 10 minutes in the back seat. I know my experience in the back seat.
You've done around an hour.
I don't know. I actually ride in the back a lot when like we're driving people home because it's the polite thing to do.
Yes.
But it's
you wouldn't
not,
ask your friend
right.
to get into the back if they're over
really
5'10".
Try to get in the back seat.
We're gonna see if Stan can get into the back seat of the BMW M6.
Okay, so that's some kind of lumbar support. Okay. This is really efficient.
Well, there's a handle actually.
To do it?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a handle there, and there's also a button. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
And you can push the buttons forward too, actually, Stan. Yeah, there you go.
That's advanced.
Yeah.
Toyota Sienna would never.
Okay, so in reality, it's actually quite easy to get in the back of the BMW M6 if you're a tall person.
Okay, but where would you? I like the can of liquid molly back here.
Yes, it's an important addition to any BMW drivers.
This is as far as I could possibly
comfortably
go.
sit. Now, Theo, you sit in the.
My
you sit in
ankles
the
will
front.
break if we get in an accident, but I think I'm.
I think
comfortable
your ankles
here.
will be the least of your concerns if we get into a crash, since your head is.
They might have to make me a little shorter.
Yeah.
For reconstructive surgery.
And that's not to mention if you have another tall person sitting in front of you.
Oh yeah, impossible.
So your leg room is limited to basically
You want to have
nothing.
small friends if you want to be using all 4 seats in this
Right.
vehicle.
But
It
are-
is usable. If you have to take somebody home after a late night, you can shove them in the back and safely get to your destination. It might not be comfortable.
Well, safely if you don't crash.
If you don't crash, yes. If you don't crash, you'll be fine. If you crash, their head will be against
Yeah.
the ceiling
It
already.
might not be there anymore. So, yes, I think
But
the
Ford's class.
the livability is top notch. I would
Yes.
say, given the car's design. You obviously sacrifice a bit of rear space with the trunk too, because the trunk is very big.
That being said, yeah, the trunk is quite large. It's we've been able to fit 2 hockey bags in the back, and it has a very nice little ski hatch that you can put the hockey sticks through.
Hatch.
So that's been very usable for any long journeys, anything like that. It's been excellent.
For a car with 560 horsepower, this is maybe as livable as it gets with a car of this ilk.
Oh, this ilk. Yeah, it's very tame when you want it to be as well, and then very savage when you want it to do that.
The exhaust is not buffoon levels.
No, it's not.
It's pretty respectable, and it doesn't make you look like a fool.
If you keep it in the eco mode and you're just driving about, it very nicely and graciously starts in eco when you set off. I think the thing that I enjoy most about the M6 is it really is, it does feel like it's filling my automotive enthusiast's needs very well. For me, the car that I wanted was something that was usable every day, but also could give me a nice, a nice boost when I needed it. If you get out of a bad day at the office, or you just need a little pick-me-up.
Give it a little something here.
As soon as you get it behind the wheels of this, it really, it's a car that'll put a smile on your face when you get behind the wheel. So it's always something there that can brighten your day if you need it. The point of these videos, this little series of, whatever we're calling it, which is, validating our purchases.
Yeah.
I think the only box that I think needs to be checked in order to validate your purchase is, when you get into the car, does it make you happy? Right. Is it a very nice space to be that puts you at ease? Does it put a massive smile on your face?
Regardless of the kind of car it is.
Yes. I think that's all that really matters at the end of the day.
Right. And
this car has been fulfilling that quite nicely for me.
through each of these videos, it's been a different kind of car.
Yeah.
So Stan's Porsche,
Sports car
convertible, the Range Rover, big luxury off-roader.
This car,
a
Grand Tour.
So they all they all have very different personalities, and I think that speaks to our own individual wants and needs
Yeah.
from a car. But all of them make us happy in a different way.
Yeah, and that's what your car truly should do. It should just make you happy. I think a lot of people have buyer's remorse, and they want to immediately get into something new. They immediately start looking for new cars. But I think,
Or the more powerful.
yeah, the more powerful version. But at the end of the day, as long as you can get into your car and feel happy, I think that's what it's all about.
Right.
You know?
With that, thank you guys very much for watching, and we will see you very soon.
We'll have some nice cars coming up for you to enjoy.
Thanks for watching. Okie doke.